Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and this is part 2 in drawing in more of 3D. I just drew this hibiscus flower, and it came out really well. It's got some really neat effects that I put into it. This is getting easier every time I do it, and if you look at the detail, and the picture does it no justice, this is the 3D engraving, and I think I'm going to add that to the video. I do not think the sandblasting does this. I think it looks like the sandblasting, and I've got a video on that, how to sandblast that off. But here's the exact file I ran, and I thought I'd just show it to you how to do it. It's got a little more detail than the last one. Let's move that picture out of the way. Let's zoom in here. This is all grouped together. So we're going to left click, right click, and we're going to go to effects and contour to the outside, let's say 1/4 of an inch, and make the contour red. We're going to see what happens. When it's all grouped together, I must have not hit outside. I put a bunch of steps or something. Let's try that again. There we go. That's maybe a little bit too much contour. I think that's what I did before. So I'm going to contour at this time 0.125, and that looks really good. Now take your Smart Fill tool and fill in that edge. Whoop, I must have missed it. Your edges. See what our nudge factor is. We need to set our nudge factor on. Let's see how big this hibiscus is. It's just 7.6 inches, so we'll change our nudge factor to 9. And we'll take our Smart Fill and we're going to move it out of the way. Then I would select all these, go up to bitmap and convert it to a bitmap black and white. It's going to make it a little fuzzy, and it seems like that's working rather well. All the 3D ones I've seen are like that. Now we need to take our interior parts. So let's select everything and move it down one. Let's take our Smart Fill tool and let's fill in these parts, and let's nudge them up. Let's get the center of that stem. So we're basically done with that. We can delete that or get it out of the way for the future use. Now you have to do these individually, but we're going to left click and we're going to right click a gray, and you can barely see them. You probably can't see them on your monitor, but they are there. Let's make it a little darker for the video. Now, I've got a video on how do you make it a lesser of a gray. So let's see if we can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one at that much gray, maybe even that much so you can see it better. But on yours, I would try to get the smallest amount of color of gray because you're going to get more of a effect. Now we've got this part. We're going to go to not much of a gray, but like 70% gray. Whoop, I still had on the outside. Let's back up here. We need to go to the center, and we need to do it 0.001 to that gray. And yours are going to look better because you're going to use less of a gray. You could even try making the outline white, and it makes it less, and let's nudge that over. But before we do that, let's do all these. It takes a little bit of time. Now let's make the outside white. What it's doing, and I wouldn't suggest doing this because it's almost too much, but this way you can see it on your monitor. Now we need to select all these and convert them into a bitmap grayscale. And what that does, it just fuzzes it up a little bit more. Now, everything selected, we can nudge it over. And that's what it's going to look like. Now, I think in mine, I actually had all this was colored in black because my contour was bigger. So this might even be a neat effect. You can see all mine is black there. And there's several ways you could do that. You could have changed the contour a little bit thicker. But for the video, that's going to be good enough. And then what I did, I just kind of played around with the artistic media tool, and I just drew a shape. That's a little bit too thick. You can make your a little bit thinner. Let's take a no fill in it, but we need to break it apart because let's put an outline on it. So I'm going to right click, and you can see there's a line in the middle of your artistic media tool. And that might even help us later, but we're going to take that away for right now. Now we're going to change this to let's do a white background and then do that same contour. And before you do anything, convert it to a bitmap grayscale. It just fuzzes it up a little bit. Now, I didn't know how this was going to work, but whenever you lay something on top, it only engraves that top part. So you could get rid of some of that black of this other deal, and this is going to be this little bitty, minute little line right there because the black took it away. And I'm not going to do the entire hibiscus with that. Let's zoom in here a little bit. But you could take that one and Control D and make a duplicate, move it up there. And this is where you're going to want to set your nudge distance really low. But if you did that all the way around, it gives it a pretty neat effect. Now, as I promised, because somebody's already asked how I ran this in Corel Draw. I'm just going to get rid of that one and we're going to use this one. And I'm going to get rid of my outline so it won't be on the page. Matter of fact, I'm going to get rid of the pictures for right now. So I've got this in my laser. Got a nice thick piece of wood because this is going to burn through. You know, put it close to the top. And if you see that, it's a bitmap box around there and you can even see boxes, but that doesn't affect anything. Then go to print. I don't ever run a laser off this, but we're going to click that. Go to preferences. Right here under advanced, you want to change it to 3D. Hit OK. Under preferences, I've got a 60-watt laser. I'm going to raster it at 100 power and 70 speed or 7 speed. This was about a 3/8 inch piece, maybe closer to a 1/4 inch, and it went over half the way through, but it gave it that great detail. And then all you do is press OK, and then like you normally would print in your printer. But anyway, we are on a long journey here to do some more intricate engraving. So please stay tuned and maybe we'll both learn together. Hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.